When 12-year-old Arjun Patel from Mumbai's largest slum raised his hand during Elon Musk's Neuralink presentation, security tried to stop him. But Elon noticed the boy and called him forward. What happened next would challenge everything the world's richest man thought he knew about brain technology and spark a global healthcare revolution that no one saw coming. The question Arjun asked was so simple yet so brilliant that it exposed a massive flaw in Musk's billion-dollar brain chip technology. In that moment, a thin boy in a worn school uniform would prove that sometimes the most powerful innovations come from the most unexpected places. This is the true story of how one impossible question changed everything. The bright lights of the Austin Convention Center hurt Arjun Patel's eyes. He had never seen so many people in one place. 1,200 scientists, doctors, and reporters filled every seat in the huge room. Camera crews lined the walls. Security guards stood at every door. Arjun sat in the back row, his small frame almost hidden between two tall adults. His worn school uniform looked out of place among the expensive suits and fancy dresses around him. The fabric was clean, but faded from many washes. His mother had sewn a small patch over a hole in the sleeve. On stage, Elon Musk stood behind a glass podium. The world's richest man looked confident and relaxed. His black t-shirt and jeans made him seem friendly, not scary like the serious businessman Arjun saw on TV. "Today, we're going to show you the future," Elon said into his microphone. His voice filled the giant room. "Neuralink will help paralyzed people walk again. Blind people will see. People who can't speak will talk." Behind Elon, a huge screen showed pictures of tiny computer chips. These chips were smaller than a coin, but packed with thousands of wires thinner than human hair. Arjun leaned forward in his seat. He had dreamed about this moment for months. His parents had worked extra jobs and saved every rupee to bring him from Mumbai to Austin, Texas. They sold his mother's gold jewelry to buy the plane tickets. "The brain speaks in electrical signals," Elon continued. "Our chip can read those signals and send them to computers, phones, or robotic limbs." A video played showing a monkey playing video games with just his thoughts. The audience gasped in amazement. Arjun had seen this video online, but watching it on the giant screen still made his heart race. Next came something even more incredible. A young woman in a wheelchair appeared on stage. Her name was Sarah, and she had been paralyzed in a car accident 2 years ago. "Watch this," Elon said. Sarah closed her eyes and concentrated. On the screen, everyone could see her brain signals being captured by a Neuralink chip. Suddenly, a robotic arm next to her began to move. It picked up a water bottle and brought it to her lips. "I'm controlling it with my mind," Sarah said, smiling through tears. "I can feed myself again." The audience exploded in applause. People stood up and cheered. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Even the serious reporters looked amazed. But Arjun wasn't clapping. He was thinking. His notebook lay open on his lap, filled with drawings and equations. While other kids his age drew superheroes, Arjun drew brain cells and electrical circuits. His teachers in Mumbai called him the boy with too many questions. Something bothered him about what he had just seen. The Neuralink chip could read signals from Sarah's brain and send them to the robotic arm. But what about signals going the other way? Arjun raised his thin hand. "I'm sorry, son," said a security guard, walking toward him. "This is for registered reporters only." But Elon had sharp eyes. He spotted the small hand in the back row. "Wait," he called out. "Let the kid ask his question." A hush fell over the crowd. Cameras turned toward Arjun. Bright TV lights made him squint. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. "Stand up, young man," Elon said with a smile. "Don't be shy." Arjun stood on shaky legs. His voice came out as barely a whisper. "My name is Arjun Patel. I'm from Mumbai, India." "Speak louder," someone shouted from the front. Arjun took a deep breath and spoke again, his slight accent clear in the quiet room. "Mr. Musk, your Neuralink chips can send signals from the brain to machines. That's amazing. But I have a question." "Go ahead," Elon said, leaning forward with interest. "What if we could make it work both ways? What if the machines could send signals back to the brain to help it heal?" The room fell completely silent. Even the camera operators stopped moving. Elon's confident smile faded. He stared at this thin boy in the worn uniform. Dr. Jennifer Hayes, Neuralink's head scientist, whispered something urgent in Elon's ear. She looked worried. Arjun continued, his voice growing stronger. In my neighborhood in Mumbai, I've been helping people with brain injuries. I built a simple device that sends electrical signals to damaged brain cells. It helped my grandmother walk again after her stroke. Gasps rippled through the audience. A 12-year-old boy claiming to heal brain injuries? It sounded impossible. I've been studying your research papers, Arjun said, pulling out his notebook. Your chips are incredible for sending signals out of the brain. But what if we could use similar technology to send healing signals back in? Dr. Hayes stepped forward to the microphone. Young man, that's a very complex idea. Brain healing requires years of research and testing. It's not something a child could understand. Arjun's dark eyes flashed with determination. Ma'am, my grandmother couldn't move her right arm for 6 months after her stroke. Doctors said the brain damage was permanent. But I studied how electricity helps nerve cells grow. I built a device from old phone parts and tested it carefully on computer models first. He opened his notebook, revealing pages covered with diagrams and equations that looked far too advanced for a 6th grader. After 3 weeks of treatment, my grandmother could move her fingers. After 2 months, she could cook dinner again. Now she helps me treat other people in our slum. The audience buzzed with whispers. Some people looked skeptical. Others seemed amazed. All the cameras focused on Arjun's notebook. Elon walked to the edge of the stage. His eyes locked on the boy. Arjun, what you're describing, if it's true, it could change everything we know about brain repair. Mr. Musk, Arjun said, his voice clear and confident now, I think your Neuralink technology could make my simple device 1,000 times better. Maybe we could work together. For 10 long seconds, nobody spoke. The richest man in the world stared at a poor boy from India who claimed to have solved a medical puzzle that had stumped scientists for decades. Finally, Elon smiled, but it wasn't his usual confident grin. It was the uncertain smile of someone who had just heard something that challenged everything he thought he knew. That's a very interesting idea, Arjun, he said slowly. Stay after the presentation. I'd like to hear more about these ideas of yours. As Arjun sat back down, his heart hammering in his chest, his notebook slipped from his sweaty hands. It fell open on the floor, revealing a page covered with brain diagrams and mathematical formulas that looked impossible for any child to understand. But what Elon couldn't see from the stage were the words written in Hindi at the bottom of the page. Translated, they said, for Nani, who taught me that the heart heals faster than the brain, but both need electricity to work. The presentation continued, but nobody was really listening anymore. Scientists whispered excitedly about the boy's question. Reporters frantically typed notes about the unexpected challenge to Elon Musk. And in the back row, a 12-year-old boy from the slums of Mumbai sat quietly, unaware that he had just asked the question that would change his life forever. 6 months earlier, the monsoon rains pounded the tin roof of the Patel family's tiny home in Dharavi. Water dripped through 3 different holes, forcing them to place plastic buckets around their single room. The steady ping-ping-ping of raindrops hitting plastic had become the soundtrack of their lives. Arjun sat cross-legged on the floor, hunched over a broken laptop computer. The screen flickered and went dark every few minutes. But he had learned to save his work constantly. Around him, the sounds of Mumbai's largest slum never stopped. Babies crying, people shouting, motorcycles honking, and the constant hum of millions of people living too close together. Beta, come eat. His mother Priya called softly. She had just returned from her night shift cleaning offices in the business district. Her sari was wrinkled and her feet hurt from standing for 12 hours, but she smiled when she looked at her son. 5 more minutes, Mama, Arjun replied without looking up. His fingers flew across the keyboard, typing equations that would confuse most college students. Raj Patel looked up from the cell phone he was repairing. His small workspace took up one corner of their home. A wooden board covered with tiny screwdrivers, broken phone parts, and coils of colored wire. He fixed phones for people in the slum, earning barely enough money to buy food each day. The boy has been working since sunrise, Raj said to his wife. What is he studying now? Priya walked over and peered at the laptop screen. She couldn't read English very well. But she recognized some of the pictures. They looked like the brain diagrams from her son's medical books. Arjun was different from other children, and his parents had known it since he was very small. At age 3, while other kids played with toys, Arjun read newspapers aloud. At 5, he solved math problems that his teachers couldn't understand. At 8, he built his first computer from electronic waste he found in the slum's garbage dumps. "I'm researching neuroplasticity," Arjun explained, finally closing the laptop. "It's how the brain can rewire itself after being damaged." His parents exchanged worried glances. They loved their brilliant son, but sometimes his intelligence scared them. How could they guide a child whose mind worked in ways they couldn't understand? The family shared a simple dinner of rice, dal, and vegetables. They ate sitting on a thin mat on the floor, using their hands in the traditional way. Through their single window, they could see hundreds of other tiny homes pressed together like boxes in a warehouse. "Arjun," his father said carefully, "the other children your age play cricket and watch movies. Don't you want friends?" Arjun thought about this question. He did feel lonely sometimes. Kids at school thought he was weird because he preferred reading to playing. Teachers didn't know what to do with a student who finished assignments in minutes and then asked questions they couldn't answer. "I have friends online," Arjun said. "Kids from other countries who like science too. And I have important work to do." "What work?" Priya asked gently. Arjun's eyes lit up. "I'm trying to help Nani." His grandmother, whom everyone called Nani, lived with Raj brothers' family in another part of Dharavi. 3 months ago, she had suffered a stroke that left her unable to move her left arm. The doctors at the free clinic said nothing could be done. The brain damage was permanent. But Arjun refused to accept this answer. He spent hours at the local library, using their free internet research brain injuries. He read medical papers written by doctors with many degrees. He watched videos of brain surgeries and studied how electricity moved through nerve cells. The librarian, Mrs. Sharma, had grown used to seeing the thin boy with serious eyes hunched over a computer for hours every day. She sometimes brought him tea and biscuits, worried that he wasn't eating enough. "What are you looking for today, Beta?" she would ask. "Ways to help damaged nerves grow back," Arjun would answer, never taking his eyes off the screen. Mrs. Sharma didn't understand the science, but she understood determination. This boy reminded her of her own son, who had become a doctor through years of hard work and sacrifice. One evening, Arjun made a discovery that changed everything. He found a research paper about electrical stimulation therapy written by doctors in Germany. They had helped stroke patients by sending small amounts of electricity through their damaged brain tissue. "The brain runs on electricity," Arjun whispered to himself in the quiet library. "If we give it the right kind of electrical signals, maybe we can wake up the sleeping parts." He printed the research paper, using money he had saved from helping neighbors with their computers. That night, by the light of a single bulb in their tiny home, Arjun studied every word. His parents watched him work, feeling proud and worried at the same time. Other 12-year-olds were playing or watching TV. Their son was trying to cure brain damage with no money, no laboratory, and no medical training. "Maybe we should ask him to stop," Priya whispered to her husband. "What if he hurts someone? What if he hurts himself?" Raj shook his head. "Have you seen his face when he talks about helping Nani? This is not just curiosity. This is love." The next day, Arjun visited his grandmother. She sat in a plastic chair outside her small home, her left arm hanging uselessly at her side. Her eyes were sad, but they brightened when she saw her grandson. "Nani," Arjun said, sitting on the ground beside her chair. "I want to try something that might help your arm." He explained his research in simple words. He told her about electricity and brain cells and nerve signals. She slid carefully, even though she understood very little. "Will it hurt?" she asked. "No, Nani, just small amounts of electricity, like what's already in your body. And you think this might work?" Arjun's young face was serious. "I don't know. But doctors said you would never move your arm again. And I don't believe them. Your brain is damaged, but it's not dead. Maybe we can teach it to work differently." His grandmother reached out with her good hand and touched his cheek. "Beta, you have always been special. Even as a baby, you saw things others missed. If you think this might help, then we will try." That night, Arjun began building his device. He used parts from broken cell phones that his father couldn't repair. He carefully removed tiny circuits and wires, studying each piece like a jeweler examining diamonds. From an old radio, he took components that could generate small electrical currents. From a broken computer, he salvaged circuits that could control the power level. He soldered connections with a tool borrowed from a neighbor who repaired televisions. His parents watched nervously as sparks flew from his work. The smell of melting plastic filled their small room. "Are you sure this is safe?" Raj asked. Arjun looked up, his face smudged with dirt and his hair messy. "Papa, I've tested every component. I've calculated the electrical output 20 times. I know this looks dangerous, but I've been very careful." After 2 weeks of work, the device was finished. It looked like a small plastic box with wires coming out of it. Simple LED lights showed when it was working. A dial controlled how much electricity it produced. Arjun had also built something else, a testing system using components from broken toys. He could measure exactly how much electrical current his device produced and make sure it was safe for human use. "Tomorrow, we test it on Nani," he announced. His parents looked at each other with fear and hope. Their 12-year-old son was about to attempt something that trained doctors said was impossible. But as Priya watched Arjun carefully pack his homemade device into an old cloth bag, she felt a strange certainty. This boy who had been reading before he could properly walk, who built computers from garbage, who understood things that amazed adults, maybe he really could perform a miracle. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we find out if love and intelligence are enough to heal a broken brain." The next morning came too quickly. Arjun barely slept, his mind spinning with worries and excitement. What if his device didn't work? What if it hurt his grandmother? What if he had made a terrible mistake? But when he arrived at Nani's house, carrying his homemade device in the old cloth bag, her calm smile gave him courage. "Are you ready, Beta?" she asked, settling into her plastic chair. Arjun nodded and carefully unpacked his creation. The small box looked so simple, but it represented months of research and weeks of careful building. He placed the electrodes on his grandmother's paralyzed arm, exactly where his research said the nerve pathways were located. His hands shook slightly as he turned on the device. "Do you feel anything, Nani?" "Just a tiny tickling," she said, "like ants walking on my skin." For 20 minutes, Arjun's device sent gentle electrical pulses through his grandmother's damaged nerves. She sat patient, trusting her grandson completely. When the session ended, nothing seemed different. Nani still couldn't move her left arm. Arjun tried to hide his disappointment. "These things take time, Beta," his grandmother said gently. "The doctors took months to give up hope. We can give hope a few weeks to work. Every day. For 2 weeks. Arjun returned with his device. Every day, the treatment seemed to do no. His parents began to worry that their son was setting himself up for heartbreak. Then, on a Tuesday morning, Nani wiggled her little finger. It was such a small movement that Arjun almost missed it. But when he saw it, he shouted so loudly that neighbors came running to see what was wrong. She moved her finger. Within a month, Nani could lift her entire hand. Within 2 months, she was cooking again. The woman doctors said would never recover was chopping vegetables and rolling chapati dough. Word spread quickly through Dharavi. People began bringing their sick relatives to the boy genius who could heal with electricity. Arjun helped an old man who couldn't remember his children's names after a head injury. He treated a young woman whose legs were weak from polio. Each success made him more confident, but also more careful. "I'm not a doctor," he always told people. "I can't cure everything. But sometimes, the body just needs a little help remembering how to heal itself." 3 months after his grandmother's recovery, Arjun received an email that would change his life forever. It came from Dr. Sarah Chen at MIT in America. "Dear Arjun," the email read, "your work with electrical therapy has come to our attention through a medical journal that published photos of your grandmother's recovery. We would like to invite you to compete in the Global Youth Innovation Challenge. The winner gets to present their invention to world leaders and meet Elon Musk." Arjun stared at the computer screen in the library, reading the email 3 times to make sure it was real. Mrs. Sharma, the librarian, looked over his shoulder. "What is it, Beta?" "They want me to compete against the smartest kids in the world," Arjun whispered. The competition would be held online because of COVID-19. Students from 50 countries would present their inventions to judges via video call. Each participant had 15 minutes to explain their work and answer questions. For weeks, Arjun prepared his presentation. He created charts showing his grandmother's progress. He filmed videos of other patients he had helped. He wrote a detailed explanation of how his device worked and why it was safe. His parents worried about the cost of better internet for the presentation. Their neighbor, Mr. Kumar, who ran a small internet cafe, offered to let Arjun use his best computer for free. "This boy represents all of us," Mr. Kumar said. "If he succeeds, it shows the world that great ideas can come from anywhere." The day of the competition, half the neighborhood crowded into Mr. Kumar's tiny internet cafe. People pressed against windows and stood on chairs to see Arjun present to the judges. When Arjun's turn came, the video connection was poor, his image flickered on screen, and his voice cut in and out. But when he began talking about his invention, the judges forgot about the technical problems. "My name is Arjun Patel, and I live in Dharavi slum, in Mumbai," he began, his voice steady despite his nervousness. "6 months ago, my grandmother had a stroke. Doctors said she would never move her left arm again. Today, she can cook dinner for our whole family." He held up his simple device, explaining how he built it from electronic waste and phone parts. Behind him, the sounds of Mumbai traffic and children playing created a soundtrack completely different from the quiet laboratories where other contestants presented. "Most medical devices cost thousands of dollars," Arjun continued. "Mine cost $15 to build. Most require years of training to use. Mine can be learned in one day. I believe that good medicine should be simple medicine." Dr. Chen, judging from her office at MIT, leaned closer to her computer screen. This boy was presenting ideas that challenged everything she knew about medical technology. "Arjun," she said, "your results are impressive, but how can you be sure your device is safe? What about side effects?" Arjun's eyes lit up with excitement. "Excellent question, Dr. Chen. I've been tracking 30 patients for 8 months now. Not only have we seen no harmful effects, but something unexpected happened." He clicked to his next slide, showing brain scans he had somehow obtained from a local clinic. The electrical therapy doesn't just help damaged areas heal, it seems to improve brain function overall. Patients report better memory, improved mood, and clearer thinking. It's as if the gentle electricity helps the entire brain work better, not just the injured parts. Dr. Chen sat back in her chair amazed. This 12-year-old boy from an Indian slum had discovered something that billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies had missed. Dr. James Wilson from Stanford asked the next question. "Arjun, your work is remarkable for someone your age. But why should we believe a child can solve problems that trained scientists cannot?" The question hung in the air. Through the grainy video connection, Arjun looked directly into the camera. "Dr. Wilson, maybe it's because I'm a child that I can see solutions others miss. Adults know all the reasons why things won't work. Children ask, what if they do work? My grandmother needed help, so I found a way to help her. Sometimes the best science comes from love, not laboratories." His answer was so simple and honest that even the skeptical judges smiled. 2 hours later, as other students presented robots and apps and complicated inventions, the judges kept thinking about the boy from Mumbai who built healing devices from garbage. 3 days after the competition, Arjun received another email from Dr. Chen. "Congratulations," it read. "You have won first place in the Global Youth Innovation Challenge. Your prize includes a full scholarship to present your work at the World Technology Conference in Austin, Texas, where you will meet Elon Musk and demonstrate your invention to global leaders." In the internet cafe, surrounded by his cheering neighbors, Arjun felt overwhelmed. Mrs. Sharma hugged him tightly, tears streaming down her face. His parents arrived, having run all the way from their home when they heard the news. His mother cried. His father stood speechless, unable to believe that his son would travel to America. "What does this mean?" Priya asked. Arjun looked at his family, then at the neighbors who had become his first patients, then at the computer screen showing his acceptance email. "It means," he said slowly, "that we're going to change the world." But as he celebrated with his family and friends, Arjun had no idea that in 6 months he would stand in front of Elon Musk and ask a question that would shock everyone who heard it. The conference room at the Austin Convention Center felt enormous to Arjun. After the noise and excitement of the presentation, the sudden quiet made his ears ring. His hands were still shaking from asking his question in front of 1,200 people. Elon Musk sat across from him at a polished wooden table that was bigger than Arjun's entire home in Mumbai. Also in the room were Dr. Matthew Johnson, Neuralink's head scientist, and Lisa Rodriguez, Elon's assistant, who wrote down everything that was said. "So, Arjun," Elon began, his voice friendlier than it had been on stage. "Tell me more about these ideas of yours." Arjun opened his worn notebook with trembling fingers. The pages were filled with diagrams, equations, and notes written in both English and Hindi. Some drawings were so detailed they looked like they belonged in medical textbooks. Others were simple sketches that any child might draw. "Mr. Musk," Arjun said, finding his voice, "your Neuralink chips are amazing. They can read brain signals and send them to computers or robotic arms. But they only work one way." He drew a simple diagram on a blank page. A brain connected to a computer with an arrow pointing only from brain to computer. "What if we could make the arrows go both ways?" Arjun continued, drawing a second arrow. "What if the computer could send healing signals back to the brain?" Dr. Johnson leaned forward, looking skeptical. "Arjun, we've thought about two-way communication, but the technology isn't ready yet. The brain is too complex. Maybe in 10 or 15 years we'll understand enough to try something like that." Arjun shook his head politely. "But sir, I think the technology is ready now. The answer isn't in making the computer chips more complicated. It's in understanding that the body already knows how to heal itself." He flipped to another page covered with detailed drawings of nerve cells and electrical pathways. "Every cell in our body makes electricity," Arjun explained, his confidence growing as he talked about his favorite subject. "When we get hurt, these electrical patterns change. The damaged cells send out different signals than healthy cells." Elon moved closer, studying the diagrams. For a man who built rockets and electric cars, Arjun's drawings were surprisingly sophisticated. "If we can read these electrical patterns," Arjun continued, "and understand what they mean, we can send the right signals back to help the body heal faster." He turned to a page filled with photographs printed on regular paper. They showed an elderly Indian woman doing various activities: cooking, combing her hair, lifting objects with both hands. "This is my grandmother," Arjun said proudly. 6 months ago, she couldn't move her left arm after a stroke. Doctors said the brain damage was permanent. Lisa Rodriguez looked up from her note-taking, interested despite herself. "I built a device that reads the electrical signals from her damaged nerves and sends back the right frequencies to help them heal. It worked so well that now she can do everything she could do before her stroke." Dr. Johnson's expression changed from skeptical to curious. "Arjun, that's a remarkable claim. Do you have any medical data to support it?" Arjun's eyes lit up with excitement. "Yes, sir. I've been working with Dr. Raj Sharma at King Edward Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. He's been helping me track 30 patients for 8 months. He pulled out more papers, charts and graphs that looked surprisingly professional for someone who had no formal medical training. Not only have we seen no harmful side effects, but something amazing happened that we didn't expect. The electrical therapy doesn't just help the damaged area, it seems to improve overall brain function." He showed them brain scans with areas highlighted in different colors. Patients report better memory, improved mood, and clearer thinking. One man with depression said he felt happier than he had in years. A woman with anxiety said her worry thoughts became quieter. "It's like the gentle electricity helps the whole brain work better together." Elon stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking Austin's skyline. He was quiet for a long moment, thinking. "Arjun," he said without turning around, "what you're describing sounds like science fiction. You're telling me that a 12-year-old boy from Mumbai has figured out how to treat brain injuries, depression and anxiety with a device built from electronic waste?" "Mr. Musk," Arjun replied quietly, "I know it sounds impossible, but my grandmother is cooking dinner right now using both hands. That was impossible too, until it wasn't." Elon turned back to face him. "Show me your device." Arjun carefully pulled his invention from the cloth bag his mother had sewn for him. It looked nothing like the sleek, expensive medical equipment that filled most hospitals. The plastic case was slightly cracked and the wires were different colors because Arjun had used whatever he could find. But when he opened it and showed the carefully arranged circuits inside, even Dr. Johnson had to admit it looked well designed. I tested every component 20 times before I used it on my grandmother, Arjun explained. I measured the electrical output with equipment I borrowed from my school's physics lab. I researched safe levels of stimulation in medical journals. He demonstrated how the device worked, showing the LED lights that indicated power levels and the precise controls for adjusting the electrical frequency. The most important part, Arjun said, is that it doesn't force the brain to do anything. It just gives damaged cells the right kind of electrical nutrients to heal themselves. Dr. Johnson examined the device more closely. This is actually quite sophisticated for something built from salvaged parts. How did you learn to design circuits like this? YouTube videos and library books, mostly, Arjun answered, and trial and error. I burned out a lot of components before I got it right. Elon sat back down, staring at Arjun with an expression that mixed amazement and disbelief. Let me understand this correctly, he said slowly. You researched neuroplasticity and electrical therapy using free internet at a library. You built a medical device from electronic waste. You tested it safely and effectively on 30 patients. And you did all of this at age 12, with no formal training, in one of the world's largest slums. Yes, sir. Arjun nodded. But I had help. My grandmother believed in me. My parents supported me even when they were scared. My neighbors trusted me with their health problems. Dr. Sharma at the hospital checked my work to make sure it was safe. And now you think this approach could be combined with Neuralink technology? Arjun's face brightened with excitement. Mr. Musk, imagine if your brain chips could not only read neural signals but also send back healing frequencies. People with brain injuries could recover faster. People with depression or anxiety might get better without drugs that have bad side effects. He flipped to a page covered with calculations and technical drawings. I've been studying your Neuralink research papers. Your chips are 1,000 times more advanced than my simple device. If we combined your precision technology with my healing approach, we could help millions of people. The room fell silent. Lisa Rodriguez stopped writing. Dr. Johnson stared at the drawings. Elon leaned back in his chair, his mind racing with possibilities. Finally, Elon spoke. Arjun, I've met with Nobel Prize winners, heads of state, the smartest scientists in the world, but I've never had anyone challenge my entire approach to brain-computer interfaces in 15 minutes. He paused, choosing his words carefully. What you're proposing could revolutionize not just Neuralink but all of neuroscience. If you're right, we've been thinking about brain technology completely wrong. Arjun waited quietly, unsure if this was good or bad news. Elon stood up and walked to the window again. When he turned back, his expression had changed completely. The confident billionaire was gone, replaced by someone who looked genuinely uncertain for the first time in years. Arjun, he said, his voice serious, I need to ask you something very important. Are you willing to change the world? The question hung in the air, like electricity before a thunderstorm. In that moment, Arjun realized that his life would never be the same again. Mr. Musk, he replied, his young voice steady with determination. I thought I already was. 3 weeks later, Arjun found himself standing in front of the most advanced research facility he had ever seen. The Neuralink building in Fremont, California. Looked like something from a science fiction movie. Glass walls stretched up toward the sky, and everything inside gleamed under bright white lights. His parents walked beside him, their eyes wide with amazement. Raj clutched a small suitcase containing everything their family owned. Priya wore her best sari, the one she had saved for special occasions. They looked like visitors from another planet in this world of expensive cars and perfectly dressed scientists. Welcome to your new laboratory, Elon said, greeting them at the entrance. He led them through hallways lined with computer screens showing brain scans and complex data. Arjun tried not to stare, but everything was incredible. Robots moved silently through the corridors. Scientists in white coats worked with equipment that cost more than most people earned in their entire lives. The air smelled clean and fresh. Nothing like the dusty, crowded streets of Mumbai. I've never done anything like this before, Elon admitted quietly to Dr. Johnson as they walked. Hiring a 12-year-old kid. My board of directors thinks I've lost my mind. Maybe you have, Dr. Johnson replied. But if this boy is even half as smart as he seems, we might be making history. Elon stopped in front of a door marked Research Lab 7. He handed Arjun a keycard with his name printed on it. This is yours, Elon said. Your own research team. Unlimited budget for equipment and access to everything we know about brain science. Arjun's hands shook as he swiped the keycard. The door opened to reveal a laboratory that was bigger than his entire neighborhood back home. Tables lined the walls, covered with microscopes, computers, and machines he couldn't even name. This can't be real, Priya whispered to her husband in Hindi, but it was real. Elon had given Arjun something that most adult scientists could only dream of: complete freedom to explore his ideas with the best tools money could buy. Dr. Emily Watson was waiting inside the lab. She was a neuroscientist who specialized in brain injuries, and she would be Arjun's main research partner. At first, she looked skeptical about working with a child. "So you're the boy genius I've heard about," she said, shaking Arjun's hand. "I have to admit, I'm not sure what a 12-year-old can teach me about brain science." Arjun smiled politely. He was used to adults doubting him. "Maybe we can teach each other, Dr. Watson." Over the next few days, Dr. Watson's opinion began to change. She watched Arjun work and realized that his mind operated differently from any scientist she had ever met. Where she saw complicated problems that required years of research, Arjun saw simple solutions that could be tested immediately. Where she followed established scientific methods, Arjun created entirely new approaches. "The brain is like a city," Arjun explained one morning, drawing diagrams on a whiteboard. "When there's an accident, traffic gets backed up everywhere. Most doctors try to build new roads around the problem. But what if we just fix the traffic lights?" Dr. Watson stared at his drawing. It was such a simple way to think about brain injuries, but it made perfect sense. "You mean instead of trying to grow new brain cells, we should focus on helping the existing cells communicate better?" "Exactly." Arjun's eyes lit up with excitement. "My grandmother's brain cells weren't dead after her stroke. They were just confused and couldn't talk to each other properly. My device helped them remember how to work together." They began testing Arjun's theories using computer models. The results were amazing. Brain simulations showed that gentle electrical stimulation could indeed help damaged neural networks reorganize themselves and function normally again. Next, they tested the approach on laboratory mice with brain injuries. Dr. Watson had expected modest improvements, but what they saw shocked her. Mice treated with Arjun's electrical therapy recovered twice as fast as untreated mice. "This shouldn't be possible," she told Arjun after reviewing the data for the third time. "According to everything I learned in medical school, brain damage this severe should be permanent." Arjun shrugged. Maybe medical school is wrong about some things. Elon visited the laboratory every day, fascinated by how Arjun combined advanced science with simple wisdom. The boy could discuss complex neural pathways, like a professor, then explain his ideas using stories that anyone could understand. "In India, we have an old saying," Arjun told him one afternoon. "The best medicine comes from understanding the body, not fighting against it." "What do you mean?" Elon asked. "Most treatments try to force the body to do something different. Surgery cuts things apart. Drugs change how cells behave. But what if we just gave the body the right tools to heal itself?" This philosophy guided everything Arjun did in the laboratory. Instead of creating complicated solutions, he looked for simple lives to help natural healing processes work better. Meanwhile, his parents struggled to adjust to their new life in America. They lived in a company apartment that was luxurious by their standards but felt cold and empty compared to their tiny home in Mumbai. Raj felt useless without his phone repair shop. He had always been proud of his ability to fix broken electronics and provide for his family. Now he spent his days wandering around Fremont, unable to communicate with most people because his English was limited. Priya missed her sisters, her neighbors, and the familiar chaos of Mumbai life. She missed the sounds of street vendors calling out their prices, children playing cricket in narrow alleys, and the constant hum of millions of people living close together. "I'm proud of our son," she told Raj one evening, "but I feel like we're losing him to this new world." Arjun noticed his parents' sadness, even though they tried to hide it from him. Despite all the excitement of working with the world's most advanced technology, he felt homesick too. He missed the taste of his mother's cooking made with spices that couldn't be found in American grocery stores. He missed the warm feeling of helping his neighbors solve their problems. Most of all, he missed the sense that his work directly helped people he cared about. One evening, he made a video call to his grandmother in Mumbai. Her face appeared on the computer screen, wrinkled but smiling brightly. "Nani," he said, "I'm learning so much here. The equipment is incredible, and I'm making discoveries that could help millions of people. But something feels wrong." His grandmother tilted her head, studying his face through the video connection. "What feels wrong, Beta?" "I feel empty inside. Like I'm doing important work, but I've forgotten why it matters." His grandmother nodded wisely. "Beta, do you remember why you started building your first device? To help you walk again. And why did you want to help me? Because I love you. Because seeing you sad made me sad. Then you haven't forgotten why your work matters," she said gently. "You've just gotten distracted by all the fancy equipment and important people. Knowledge without love is like a bird without wings. It can't really fly." After the call ended, Arjun sat in his modern laboratory surrounded by millions of dollars worth of equipment. But his grandmother's words echoed in his mind. The next morning, he made an announcement that surprised everyone, including Elon. "I want to go back to India," he said during the daily team meeting. Dr. Watson dropped her coffee cup. Dr. Johnson looked confused. Elon stared at Arjun in complete disbelief. "What do you mean?" Elon asked. "We're on the verge of breakthrough discoveries. We could help millions of people with brain injuries." Arjun took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. "Mr. Musk, that's exactly why I need to go back. The people who need this technology the most can't afford to come to California. They're in places like Dharavi, in villages without electricity, in refugee camps around the world." Elon shook his head firmly. "Arjun, you can't develop advanced medical technology in a slum. You need proper laboratories, clean facilities, trained assistants." "Mr. Musk," Arjun said quietly, "I built my first healing device from garbage found in the streets. Some of the smartest people I know can't read or write. Intelligence isn't about having expensive tools. It's about understanding problems that others can't see." The argument continued for hours. Elon offered Arjun everything he could think of: his own company, unlimited research funding, admission to the best universities in the world. But Arjun remained firm in his decision. "I'll make you a deal," Elon finally said, desperation creeping into his voice. "Stay for 6 more months. Help us finish developing your technology for clinical trials. Then if you still want to leave, I'll support whatever you decide to do." Arjun considered this offer carefully. 6 months would be enough time to prove his theories and develop better versions of his healing device. "I'll stay," he agreed. "But I have one condition." "What's that?" "I want to start training other kids from developing countries. Kids like me who have brilliant ideas, but no opportunities to develop them." Elon looked surprised. "What exactly do you have in mind?" "Remote learning, sir. We have the internet now. We can teach anyone, anywhere in the world. What if we found 100 kids like me? 1,000? For the first time in hours." Elon smiled. The idea excited him as much as Arjun's medical tegoberries. And that was how the most ambitious educational project in history began, with a homesick 12-year-old bull who refused to forget where he came from. The next 6 months flew by like a dream. Arjun's online school for gifted children from developing countries grew from an idea into something magnificent. Students joined from Nigeria, Bangladesh, Philippines, Kenya, Peru, and dozens of other nations. Every morning at 6 a.m. California time, Arjun would sit in front of his computer and teach classes to kids around the world. His first student was Kavya Sharma, a 14-year-old girl from a Delhi slum who was brilliant at chemistry. Next came Marcus Okafor from Lagos, Nigeria, who could solve engineering problems that stumped college graduates. "Good morning, everyone," Arjun would say, watching faces appear on his screen from different time zones. "Today we're going to learn about how the brain heals itself." Elena Rodriguez joined from a small village in Peru. Her family grew potatoes on a mountain farm, but she dreamed of becoming a doctor. Ahmed Hassan connected from a refugee camp in Bangladesh, using a phone with a cracked screen, but a mind that understood mathematics like poetry. These students weren't just learning from Arjun, they were teaching him too. Each came from a different culture with unique ways of solving problems. Together, they formed a global classroom unlike anything that had ever existed. In my village, Elena said during one lesson, we use willow bark tea for headaches. My grandmother says it works better than modern medicine. Arjun's eyes lit up. Elena, willow bark contains salicin, which is similar to aspirin. Your grandmother discovered natural pain relief. What other traditional medicines does your village use? Meanwhile, Arjun's medical research with Dr. Watson was producing incredible results. Their improved healing device had successfully treated brain injuries in laboratory tests. Clinical trials with human patients were scheduled to begin soon. Major hospitals around the world wanted to test Arjun's technology. The World Health Organization had taken notice. Medical journals were publishing papers about the Mumbai method of electrical brain therapy. Elon visited the lab daily, amazed by what they had accomplished. Arjun, your work is going to revolutionize medicine. We're talking about helping millions of people with brain injuries, depression, and other neurological conditions. But the more successful Arjun became, the more he thought about the students in his online classes. They were just as smart as he was, but they faced even bigger challenges. Kavya's mother worked 16-hour days in a textile factory to pay for internet access. Marcus studies by candlelight because his neighborhood only had electricity 3 hours each day. Elena walked 2 hours to reach the nearest internet cafe for her classes. It's not fair, Arjun told his parents one evening. They were eating dinner in their comfortable American apartment, but Arjun barely touched his food. What's not fair? Beta? His mother asked. I have everything now. The best equipment, unlimited money for research, access to the smartest scientists in the world. But my friends in the online school have nothing. They're just as intelligent as I am, maybe more intelligent. Why should I get all these opportunities when they don't? His father put down his fork and looked at his son seriously. Arjun, you earned these opportunities through hard work and talent. No one gave you anything for free. But Papa, I was lucky to be born into a family that supported my dreams. What if my parents had told me to stop asking questions and focus on making money? What if we lived somewhere without internet access? What if I had been born a girl in a culture that doesn't educate girls? These questions kept Arjun awake at night. He felt guilty about his success while his virtual classmates struggled with poverty and limited opportunities. Dr. Watson noticed his distraction during their research sessions. Arjun, you seem troubled lately. Is everything okay? Dr. Watson, Arjun said slowly. Do you think smart people have a responsibility to help others who are less fortunate? She considered the question carefully. I think everyone has a responsibility to help others, regardless of how smart they are. But people with special talents might have special opportunities to make a difference. What if helping others means giving up your own advantages? Dr. Watson studied Arjun's young face, recognizing the weight of some internal struggle. That's a very mature question for someone your age. What's really bothering you? Arjun explained his feelings about the online school students. He told her about Kavya's family sacrificing to pay for internet, about Marcus studying by candlelight, about Elena walking hours to attend virtual classes. They're just as brilliant as any student at MIT or Stanford, he said. But they'll never get the chances I've gotten unless someone helps them. And you think you should be that someone? I don't know, maybe. All I know is that sitting in this expensive laboratory while my friends struggle doesn't feel right anymore. The next morning, Arjun made an announcement that shocked everyone in the research team. I want to go back to India, he said during their daily meeting. The room erupted in surprised voices. Dr. Watson nearly dropped her tablet. Dr. Johnson looked confused. Lisa Rodriguez stopped taking notes and stared at Arjun. What do you mean? Elon asked, his voice sharp with concern. Arjun took a deep breath. Mr. Musk, everything we've accomplished here is wonderful, but the people who need this technology the most can't afford to come to America. They can't pay for expensive treatments at fancy hospitals. Arjun, you can't develop cutting-edge medical technology in a slum, Elon argued. You need proper facilities, trained staff, quality control measures. Mr. Musk, Arjun replied quietly. I built my first healing device from electronic waste. Some of the smartest people I know can't read or write. Intelligence isn't about having expensive tools, it's about understanding problems that others miss. The argument continued for hours. Elon offered Arjun everything he could imagine: his own research company, unlimited funding, admission to any university in the world. "You could have Nobel Prize-winning scientists working for you," Elon said desperately. "You could publish groundbreaking research papers. You could become the most famous medical researcher in history." But Arjun shook his head at each offer. "Mr. Musk, what good is fame if the people who need help can't get it? What's the point of groundbreaking research if it only helps people rich enough to afford it?" Elon stood up and paced around the room, running his hands through his hair. "Arjun, you're thinking with your heart instead of your head. You can help more people by staying here and developing better technology." "Can I?" Arjun asked. "Or will I just create more expensive treatments that poor people can't access?" The room fell silent. Everyone could see that Arjun had made up his mind. Finally, Elon sat back down and looked directly at Arjun. "I'll make you a deal. Stay for 6 more months. Help us finish the clinical trials and get your technology approved by medical authorities. Then, if you still want to leave, I'll support whatever you decide to do." Arjun considered this carefully. 6 months would be enough time to prove his technology worked safely and effectively. The data would be published in medical journals, making it available to doctors everywhere. "I'll agree to that," Arjun said, "but I have a condition too." "What's that?" "I want to expand the online school. I want to find more students like my current ones, and give them real opportunities to develop their ideas. Not just virtual classes, but actual research projects, mentorship with expert scientists, and pathways to higher education." Elon's eyes lit up with interest. The idea excited him almost as much as Arjun's medical research. "You're talking about a global talent pipeline," Elon said. "Finding brilliant kids in developing countries and giving them resources to change the world." "Exactly. There are probably thousands of kids like me out there, kids with amazing ideas but no way to develop them. What if we could find them and help them?" Dr. Watson leaned forward. "That's actually a brilliant idea. Most scientific breakthroughs come from young minds approaching old problems in new ways." Over the next weeks, they developed a plan for the most ambitious educational project in history. They would create online competitions to identify gifted children from poor communities worldwide. Winners would receive scholarships, mentorship, and access to research facilities. The program would be called Global Minds Initiative, and it would focus on finding solutions to problems affecting defecting countries: diseases, clean water, sustainable energy, and food security. "We'll find the next generation of innovators," Elon explained to his board of directors. "Kids who understand real-world problems because they live with them every day." But as they planned this massive project, Arjun received disturbing news from India that would force him to make the hardest decision of his young life. Dr. Raj Sharma called from Mumbai with urgent information about one of Arjun's online students. "Arjun." Dr. Sharma's voice was tense with worry. "It's about Kavya. Her mother has had a massive stroke. She's in a coma at our hospital. The family has no money for advanced treatment." Arjun's heart sank. Kavya was one of his brightest students, and her mother had worked herself to exhaustion to pay for her daughter's education. "The doctors here have given up hope," Dr. Sharma continued. "But Kavya asked me to call you. She believes your healing technology could save her mother's life." In that moment, Arjun realized that all his success, all his advanced equipment, and all his research meant nothing if he couldn't help the people who needed him most. "Dr. Sharma," Arjun said, his voice firm with determination, "I'm coming home." The phone call came at 3 a.m. California time. Arjun was already awake, staring at the ceiling and thinking about Kavya's mother. He had barely slept since Dr. Sharma's urgent call 12 hours earlier. His parents found him sitting at his computer, surrounded by medical textbooks and research papers. His laptop screen showed a video call connection to King Edward Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. "Beta, you've been awake all night," his mother said softly, placing a cup of tea beside him. "Mama, I can't sleep while Mrs. Sharma is dying," Arjun replied, his eyes red from exhaustion but bright with determination. On the computer screen, Dr. Sharma's tired face appeared. Behind him, Arjun could see the busy hospital corridor filled with patients and worried families. "Arjun, thank you for staying online with us," Dr. Sharma said. "Kavya's mother's condition is very serious. The stroke damaged a large area of her brain. We've done everything we can with conventional treatment. Through the grainy video connection, Arjun could see into the hospital room. Kavya sat beside her mother's bed, holding her hand and crying softly. Mrs. Sharma lay unconscious, connected to machines that beeped and hummed continuously. Dr. Sharma, can you show me her brain scans? Arjun asked. The doctor held up several X-ray films to the camera. Even through the poor video quality, Arjun could see the dark areas that showed where blood flow to the brain had been cut off. The damage is extensive, Dr. Sharma explained. Larger than what we've successfully treated before with your methods. Arjun studied the scans carefully, his mind racing through everything he had learned about brain injuries over the past months. Doctor, the damage looks bad, but I can see healthy brain tissue surrounding the injured areas. If we can stimulate those healthy cells, they might be able to take over some functions of the damaged regions. Arjun, Dr. Sharma said hesitantly, we don't have your advanced equipment here. This is a public hospital serving poor patients. We have basic medical supplies, but nothing like what you've been working with in America. That's okay, Arjun said, his confidence growing. My original device was built from simple parts. Kavya is smart enough to build one if I guide her through the process. He turned to speak directly to Kavya through the video call. Kavya, I know you're scared, but I need you to listen carefully. Your mother needs our help, and you're the only one there who can provide it. Kavya looked up from her mother's bedside, her face streaked with tears. Arjun, bye. I'll do anything to save her. Just tell me what to do. For the next 6 hours, Arjun worked with Kavya to build a simplified version of his healing device. He guided her through each step, telling her exactly which electronic components to find and how to connect them safely. Go to the electronics market near your home, Arjun instructed. Look for an old radio repair shop. Tell the owner you need specific resistors and capacitors. Show him this list. Kavya's uncle, who worked repairing computers, helped gather the electronic parts. Other family members contributed whatever money they could find. The entire extended family mobilized to help build the device that might save Mrs. Sharma's life. Meanwhile, in California, Elon found Arjun still at his computer when he arrived at the laboratory the next morning. Arjun, you look terrible, Elon said with concern. Have you slept at all? Mr. Musk, one of my students needs help. Her mother had a massive stroke. I'm trying to guide them through building a healing device remotely. Elon sat down beside Arjun and looked at the computer screen showing the busy Mumbai hospital. This is incredibly risky, Arjun. You're attempting a complex medical procedure from 8,000 miles away. I know the risks, Arjun replied without taking his eyes off the screen. But doing nothing is also risky. Mrs. Sharma will die if we don't try. Dr. Watson arrived and joined them at the computer. Arjun, I understand you want to help, but this is exactly why we need proper clinical trials and safety protocols. What if something goes wrong? Dr. Watson, something has already gone wrong, Arjun said firmly. A woman is dying. Her family can't afford expensive treatments. If my technology can help her, then not using it would be wrong. For the next 12 hours, Arjun supervised Kavya's construction of the healing device through video call. He watched her carefully solder connections, test electrical outputs, and calibrate the control systems. Remember, Kavya, the most important thing is safety, Arjun emphasized. Test everything twice. Measure the electrical current exactly. Never exceed the power levels I've specified. Dr. Sharma observed the entire process, amazed by the collaboration between two teenagers separated by continents and connected only by their determination to save a life. I've been practicing medicine for 20 years, he told Arjun, but I've never seen anything like this. You're conducting advanced medical research using video calls and electronic parts from a street market. Dr. Sharma, the best medicine uses whatever tools are available, Arjun replied. Expensive equipment is nice, but caring and knowledge are more important. Finally, after 18 hours of continuous work, Kavya's device was complete. It looked crude compared to sophisticated equipment in Arjun's California laboratory, but it contained all the essential components needed for electrical brain therapy. Now comes the hard part, Arjun told everyone watching the video call. We need to place the electrodes precisely on Mrs. Sharma's head, exactly where the brain scans show the healthy tissue borders the damaged areas. Dr. Sharma helped position the electrodes while Arjun guided them through the computer screen. Kavya operated the device, her hands shaking with nervousness and hope. "Start with the lowest power setting," Arjun instructed. Mrs. Sharma should feel only a slight tingling sensation. For 20 minutes, gentle electrical pulses flowed through Mrs. Sharma's brain. The machines monitoring her vital signs showed stable readings. No dangerous reactions occurred. "How do we know if it's working?" Kavya asked anxiously. "We wait," Arjun replied. "Brain healing takes time. But if this treatment is going to help, we should see some signs within the next 24 hours. In California, Elon and Dr. Watson watched the entire procedure with amazement and concern. "I can't believe we just supervised a medical treatment through a video call," Dr. Watson said. "This goes against every protocol I've ever learned." "But it worked," Elon observed. "No complications, proper safety measures, and the patient is stable." They continued the video connection throughout the night, monitoring Mrs. Sharma's condition and providing support to her worried family. On the second day of treatment, something remarkable happened. Mrs. Sharma's eyelids fluttered slightly during the electrical therapy session. "Did you see that?" Kavya shouted with excitement. Her eyes moved. Dr. Sharma checked Mrs. Sharma's reflexes and found subtle improvements in her responses to light and sound. "There are definite signs of increased brain activity," he reported to Arjun. "Whatever you're doing seems to be having a positive effect." By the third day, Mrs. Sharma began responding to voices. She couldn't speak yet, but she could squeeze Kavya's hand when asked to do so. The medical staff at the Mumbai hospital gathered around Mrs. Sharma's bed, amazed by her progress. Patients declared hopeless just days before were rarely seen to recover so dramatically. "This is medically unprecedented," Dr. Sharma told Arjun during their video call. "I've never witnessed such rapid improvement in a severe stroke case." On the fourth day, the miracle that shocked everyone occurred. Mrs. Sharma opened her eyes fully and spoke her first words since the stroke. "Kavya," she whispered weakly. "Why are you crying?" The video call erupted in cheers and tears. Kavya hugged her mother while sobbing with joy. Dr. Sharma wiped tears from his own eyes. Even the serious hospital nurses smiled and applauded. In California, Arjun collapsed back in his chair. Overwhelmed with relief and exhaustion, he had just saved a life from 8,000 miles away using nothing but video calls, electronic waste, and the intelligence of a 14-year-old girl. "She's gonna be okay," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. Elon put his hand on Arjun's shoulder. "You've just done something incredible. You've proven that advanced medical care can be delivered anywhere in the world with the right knowledge and determination." But the story was far from over. Within hours, news of Mrs. Sharma's miraculous recovery spread through Mumbai's medical community. Then it reached national news outlets. Soon, international media picked up the story of the boy genius who saved a life through a computer screen. Headlines appeared around the world. 12-year-old performs remote brain surgery. And miracle cure delivered via video call. An Indian boy genius saves life from 8,000 miles away. But Arjun wasn't thinking about fame or headlines. He was already planning his next move. "Dr. Sharma," he said during their video call, "how many other patients at your hospital could benefit from this treatment?" "Dozens," Dr. Sharma replied. "Maybe hundreds if we include other hospitals in Mumbai." "Then we have work to do," Arjun said with determination. "It's time to bring this technology home where it's needed most." Within 24 hours, the video of Mrs. Sharma opening her eyes and speaking her daughter's name had been viewed by millions of people around the world. The grainy hospital footage, captured on Kavya's phone, showed a moment that medical experts said should have been impossible. Dr. Elizabeth Montgomery, a leading neurologist at Johns Hopkins Hospital, watched the video 3 times before calling her colleagues. "This changes everything we know about stroke recovery," she told them. "A patient with this level of brain damage should not be speaking coherently after just 4 days." In Mumbai, reporters crowded outside King Edward Memorial Hospital, trying to interview Dr. Sharma and the miraculous patient. News vans lined the streets, their satellite dishes pointing toward the sky to broadcast the story around the globe. "She opened her eyes and said my name," Kavya told a CNN reporter, tears of joy still fresh on her face. "Arjun saved my mother's life from America using a computer and phone parts we bought at the electronics market." The story spread like wildfire across social media. Miracle healing and Arjun Patel became trending topics worldwide. Videos of Mrs. Sharma's recovery were shared millions of times, accompanied by comments from amazed viewers. But not everyone believed what they were seeing. Dr. Richard Blackwell, a prominent British neurologist, appeared on BBC News to express his doubts. While this appears remarkable, he said skeptically, "We must be careful not to jump to conclusions. Brain injuries are complex, and spontaneous recovery, while rare, does occasionally occur." Other medical professionals demanded to see complete medical records, brain scans, and detailed documentation of the treatment process. Some suggested the recovery might have happened without Arjun's intervention. In California, Arjun watched the news coverage with mixed feelings. He was happy that Mrs. Sharma was recovering, but the global attention made him uncomfortable. "They're calling you a miracle worker," Elon said, showing Arjun newspaper headlines from around the world. "Time magazine wants to put you on their cover. The Nobel Prize Committee has sent an inquiry about your research." "Mr. Musk," Arjun replied quietly, "I don't want to be famous. I just want to help people get better." But the fame was already beyond his control. Within days, requests poured in from hospitals, universities, and governments around the world. Everyone wanted to know more about the Mumbai method of electrical brain therapy. Dr. Chen from MIT called personally to congratulate Arjun. "This remote treatment success has opened entirely new possibilities for global healthcare," she told him. "You've proven that advanced medical care can be delivered anywhere with the right knowledge and simple technology." More importantly for Arjun, patients from around the world began reaching out for help. His email inbox filled with desperate messages from families dealing with brain injuries, strokes, and neurological conditions. A message from Kenya caught his attention. "Dear Arjun, my husband was in a car accident 3 months ago. He can't move his right side. Local doctors say nothing can be done. Can you help us like you helped the lady in India?" Another came from Peru. "My daughter has autism and doesn't speak. I saw your video online. Could your electrical treatment help her communicate?" An elderly man from rural China wrote, "My wife has Alzheimer's disease. She doesn't remember our children anymore. I will try anything to bring her back to us." Each message broke Arjun's heart and strengthened his resolve. These weren't just medical cases, they were real people suffering while advanced treatments remained out of reach due to cost and location. "Dr. Watson," Arjun said during their daily research meeting, "look at these emails. Thousands of people need help, but they can't afford to come to America for treatment." Dr. Watson read through several messages, her expression growing more serious with each one. "Arjun, you can't possibly help everyone who contacts you. You're just one person." "But I don't have to be just one person," Arjun replied, his eyes lighting up with an idea. "What if we trained other people to use this technology? What if we created a network of healers around the world?" He opened his laptop and showed Dr. Watson his expanding online classroom. The original 5 students had grown to over 300 kids from 47 countries. "These students are incredibly smart," Arjun explained. "Many of them understand their local medical challenges better than foreign doctors do. If we train them properly, they could help patients in their own communities." Dr. Watson looked skeptical. "Arjun, you're talking about teaching medical procedures to children. That's extremely dangerous without proper supervision." "Not unsupervised," Arjun corrected. "I'm thinking about a global telemedicine network. Train students in each country connected to medical professionals through video calls, using simple devices that can be built locally." As they discussed this idea, Arjun's phone rang. It was Dr. Sharma calling from Mumbai with incredible news. "Arjun, Mrs. Sharma walked today." Dr. Sharma's voice bubbled with excitement. She walked from her bed to the window by herself. Her cognitive function is almost completely normal. Through the video call, Arjun could see Mrs. Sharma sitting up in bed, looking tired but alert. She waved at the camera and spoke directly to him. "Beta," she said in Hindi. "My daughter tells me you saved my life. How can I ever thank you?" Arjun felt tears welling up in his eyes. "Auntie, seeing you healthy is all the thanks I need." But Mrs. Sharma had more to say. "Arjun, Kavya told me about all the other sick people who have written to you asking for help. I want to do something to help them too." "What do you mean, Annie?" "I want to learn how to use your device so I can help other stroke patients. There are so many people in Mumbai who suffer like I did. If you can teach my daughter to build the machine, you can teach me to use it. Dr. Sharma nodded enthusiastically. Mrs. Sharma is right, Arjun. We could train community health workers to provide this treatment. Many villages in India have basic medical clinics, but no advanced neurological care. The idea excited Arjun tremendously. Instead of trying to help every patient individually, he could train local people to become healers in their own communities. Over the next week, the plan took shape. Mrs. Sharma became Arjun's first community health educator, learning to operate the electrical therapy device and teach others how to use it safely. Kavya documented the entire training process, creating video tutorials that could be shared with other students around the world. Step 1. Mrs. Sharma explained to the camera, always check the patient's medical history for metal implants or heart conditions. The electrical therapy is safe for most people, but we must be careful with certain conditions. Soon, other recovered patients wanted to join the program. The man with memory problems who Arjun had helped months earlier became an expert at treating cognitive issues. The young woman whose legs had been weakened by polio specialized in mobility rehabilitation. Word of this community-based approach spread quickly through Mumbai's medical community. Dr. Sharma began receiving visits from doctors at other hospitals who wanted to learn the technique. This is revolutionary, Dr. Priya Gupta from Bombay Hospital told Dr. Sharma. You're providing advanced neurological care using equipment that costs less than a smartphone. But the most meaningful validation came from an unexpected source. Dr. Richard Blackwell, the British neurologist who had initially doubted Arjun's methods, flew to Mumbai to observe the treatments firsthand. After spending 3 days at King Edward Memorial Hospital, watching Mrs. Sharma and other community health workers treat patients, Dr. Blackwell held a press conference. I came here as a skeptic, he admitted to the assembled reporters. But what I've witnessed challenges fundamental assumptions about neurological recovery. This young man from Mumbai has developed a treatment approach that could revolutionize global healthcare. He paused, choosing his words carefully. More importantly, he's created a model for making advanced medical care accessible to everyone, regardless of their economic status or geographic location. The international medical community began to take serious notice. The World Health Organization sent a team to evaluate Arjun's methods. Medical journals requested detailed papers about the treatment protocols. But for Arjun, the most important recognition came from his patients and students. Marcus from Nigeria sent a video message. Arjun, you've shown us that we don't need to wait for someone else to solve our problems. You've taught us that we can be the solution ourselves. Elena from Peru wrote, thanks to your classes, I've started a small clinic in my village. Using traditional medicines combined with modern knowledge, we're helping people who never had access to healthcare before. Abin from Bangladesh shared photos of a device he had built. I modified your design to help children with cerebral palsy. 3 kids in our refugee camp are already showing improvement. As Arjun read these messages, he realized that his work had grown far beyond anything he had originally imagined. He wasn't just treating individual patients anymore. He was creating a global movement of young healers. Elon found him in the laboratory one evening, surrounded by printouts of emails and research papers. Arjun, I've been watching what you've accomplished these past few weeks, Elon said. You've created something I never thought possible, a worldwide network of healers connected by technology but powered by compassion. Mr. Musk, this is just the beginning, Arjun replied. Imagine if we had thousands of trained community health workers around the world, all connected through telemedicine, all using simple devices that can be built locally. Elon nodded slowly. You're talking about democratizing advanced healthcare, making it available to everyone, not just people wealthy enough to afford it. Exactly. And the students in my online school could be the teachers and leaders in their own countries. As they talked, Arjun's phone buzzed with another message. This one was different from the usual request for medical help. It was from Dr. Anita Gupta, India's Minister of Health. Mr. Patel, the message read, the Prime Minister and I would like to meet with you immediately. We have a proposal that could change the lives of millions of people in India and around the world. Arjun showed the message to Elon, who whistled softly. That's not just recognition, Arjun. That's a summons from one of the most powerful governments in the world. As Arjun stared at the message, he realized that his journey from a curious boy in Mumbai's slums to a global healthcare innovator was about to enter its most challenging phase yet. 2 days later, Arjun sat in the most important government building in India. The south block of the Secretariat building in New Delhi housed the offices of the Prime Minister and key ministers. The massive stone structure, built during British rule, seemed designed to make visitors feel small and insignificant. Arjun's parents sat beside him in the waiting room, looking overwhelmed by the grandeur around them. Raj wore his best shirt, freshly pressed by Priya. His mother had chosen her most beautiful sari, the one saved for weddings and festivals. "I never imagined our son would meet government ministers," Priya whispered to her husband in Hindi. "I never imagined any of this," Raj replied, looking around at the marble floors and painted ceilings. 6 months ago, he was fixing computers in our slum. Now world leaders want to meet him. Dr. Anita Gupta's assistant appeared in the doorway. "The minister will see you now," she said formally. They were led through corridors, lined with portraits of India's leaders and independence heroes. The office they entered was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the government district of New Delhi. Dr. Gupta sat behind a massive wooden desk. She was a small woman with gray hair and serious eyes, but her smile was warm when she greeted Arjun. "Welcome, young man," she said. "Your work has impressed many people, including the Prime Minister himself." Also present were Dr. Rajesh Khurana, Director of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, General Secretary Suresh Mehta from the Ministry of External Affairs. "Arjun," Dr. Gupta began, "your recent success treating stroke patients has caught international attention. More importantly, it has shown us possibilities we never considered before." She opened a thick folder filled with documents and photographs. "India has 1.4 billion people. Many live in remote villages where advanced medical care is impossible to reach. Your technology could change that." Arjun nodded, listening carefully. "We want to offer you something unprecedented," Dr. Gupta continued. "The government of India is prepared to invest 2 billion rupees, approximately $25 million, in establishing the Arjun Patel Institute for Accessible Healthcare." Arjun's eyes widened. $25 million was more money than he could imagine. "You would direct your own research facility with 10,000 community health workers trained in your methods. We could provide this technology to every village in India within 5 years." Dr. Khurana leaned forward. "Arjun, this would make India the world leader in neurological rehabilitation. Patients from other countries would come here for treatment, bringing billions of dollars in medical tourism revenue." The offer was incredible. But Arjun sensed there was more. "What would I need to do in return?" he asked quietly. Dr. Gupta's expression became more serious. The technology would need to remain under Indian control. All research, all patents, all training programs would be managed by Indian institutions. General Secretary Mehta spoke for the first time. "Young man, you are an Indian citizen. This technology was developed by an Indian mind. It's only appropriate that India should benefit first from your discovery." Arjun felt his stomach tighten. "Sir, what about my students in other countries? I have kids in Nigeria, Bangladesh, Peru, and many other places who are already using this technology to help their communities. They would need to work through official Indian government channels," Dr. Gupta replied. "We could establish formal cooperation agreements with other countries, but the technology transfer would be controlled by us." The room grew quiet. Arjun looked at his parents, who seemed torn between pride and worry. "Ma'am," Arjun said carefully, "this is a great honor, but I have friends around the world who need this technology too. What about the girl in Kenya whose father can't move after his accident? The boy in Bangladesh who's helping children with disabilities?" Dr. Gupta's tone became firmer. "Arjun, you have a responsibility to your own country first. India has given you opportunities, education, and support. Your primary duty is to Indian citizens." Dr. Khurana added, "Besides, if we establish India as the global center for this technology, we can help more people worldwide through proper medical diplomacy." Arjun's father, Raj, looked worried. He understood that going against the government could mean serious problems for their family. But Arjun stood firm. "Ma'am, I respect India deeply. I love my country and want to help Indian patients. But diseases don't recognize borders. A sick child in Africa deserves the same help as a sick child in Mumbai." The government officials exchanged glances. This was not the response they had expected from a 12-year-old boy. General Secretary Mehta's voice carried a subtle threat. Arjun, if you choose not to work with the Indian government, you may find it difficult to continue your activities. Research permits, equipment imports, even your ability to travel internationally, all these things require government cooperation. The message was clear. Accept their offer, or face obstacles at every turn. Arjun's mother reached for his hand, squeezing it gently. She was afraid but proud of her son's courage. "Ma'am," Arjun replied quietly. "I need time to think about this." Dr. Gupta's expression softened slightly. "Of course, this is an important decision. Take a few days to consider our offer." As they left the government building, Arjun's family walked in silence through the hot Delhi streets. The weight of the decision pressed down on all of them. That evening in their hotel room, they had the most difficult conversation of their lives. "Beta," his father said gently, "the government has given you an incredible opportunity. You could help millions of people and bring honor to our family. But Papa, what about my promise to Marcus in Nigeria? To Elena in Peru? To Ahmed in Bangladesh? I told them we would work together to help people everywhere." His mother sat beside him on the bed. "Arjun, we support whatever you decide. But remember, we must live with the consequences of your choice." That night, Arjun couldn't sleep. He walked to the hotel window and looked out at the lights of Delhi, thinking about all the people who had helped him reach this point. He called his online students for an emergency video conference. Kids from around the world appeared on his laptop screen. Kivia from Delhi, Marcus from Lagos, Elena from rural Peru, Ahmed from Bangladesh, and dozens of others. "I need your advice," Arjun told them honestly. "The Indian government wants me to work only with them. They're offering me millions of dollars and huge research facilities. But what would happen to the rest of us?" Marcus asked from Nigeria. Elena's voice was sad. "Arjun, we understand if you have to choose India. But remember, you taught us that smart people have a responsibility to help everyone, not just their own group." Ahmed from Bangladesh said, "The hardest thing of all, brother, if you take their deal. Understand. But what happens to the children in our refugee camp who are getting better because of your device?" Kavya, whose mother's life Arjun had saved, spoke last. "Arjun Bhai, don't choose us over your country. But don't choose your country over what's right either. There has to be another way." As the video call ended, Arjun felt more confused than ever. How could a 12-year-old boy make a decision that would affect millions of people? Then he remembered something his grandmother had told him months ago. Back when he was just starting his journey, her words came back to him clearly. "Beta, be like the river. Don't fight the mountains. Flow around them." The next morning, Arjun asked for another meeting with Dr. Gupta. This time, he came with a different proposal. "Ma'am, what if we could help India and the world at the same time?" He opened his laptop and showed a presentation he had prepared overnight. Instead of keeping the technology only in India, what if India became the global center for teaching it? We could train health workers from every country, but they would all come here to learn. Dr. Gupta looked interested but skeptical. Arjun continued with growing excitement. "Think about it. Students from Africa, South America, and Asia would come to India for training. They would spend money here, learn about our culture, and go home as friends of India." He showed financial projections he had researched. Medical tourism to India is already worth $9 billion per year. This could add billions more. India becomes known as the world's healing center, not just for treatment, but for training healers. Dr. Khurana leaned forward, intrigued. "You're suggesting we export knowledge instead of restricting it?" "Yes, sir. We make India the Harvard University of accessible healthcare. People come here to learn, then go home to help their own communities. India gets economic benefits. Other countries get the technology, and I don't have to abandon my friends around the world." Dr. Gupta conferred quietly with her colleagues for several minutes. The idea was unconventional, but it had merit. Finally, she spoke again. "Arjun, your proposal is interesting. But we would need certain conditions." "What conditions, ma'am?" "The main research center must be in India. You must spend at least 6 months per year here. Indian students get priority in all training programs. And most importantly, this must be an Indian-led initiative." Arjun considered this carefully. The conditions were reasonable, and they would allow him to help people worldwide while honoring his responsibilities to India. Ma'am, I accept your conditions, but I have one requirement too. What's that? The technology must always be free for poor patients, regardless of which country they come from. Rich people can pay for advanced treatments, but poor people should never be denied help because they can't afford it. Dr. Gupta smiled for the first time during the meeting. Agreed. They shook hands, and the deal was done. But then Dr. Gupta surprised everyone with an additional announcement. Arjun, there's something else. Prime Minister Modi himself wants to meet you personally. He plans to make you India's youngest ever champion of healthcare innovation and announce this program to the world. 3 days later, Arjun stood in the Prime Minister's office, a room where decisions affecting 1 billion people were made daily. PM Modi, known worldwide as a powerful leader, sat across from a 12-year-old boy from Mumbai's slums. Arjun, the Prime Minister said, you have made India proud. But more importantly, you have shown the world that solutions come from understanding problems, not from having money or power. He opened a leather folder and withdrew an official document. I am offering you something that has never been given to someone your age. A special diplomatic passport that will allow you to travel freely to any country for medical humanitarian work. Arjun's eyes widened. A diplomatic passport would give him access to governments, hospitals, and research institutions worldwide. Sir, this is an incredible honor. But I want to use this passport to bring more kids like me to India for training. Poor kids with brilliant ideas who need opportunities. PM Modi smiled broadly. That's exactly what I hoped you would say. As news of the agreement spread, congratulations poured in from around the world. The World Health Organization offered to tutor with Arjun's program. Universities in 20 countries wanted to establish exchange agreements with the new institute. But the most meaningful message came from Mrs. Sharma in Mumbai. Arjun Beta, my daughter told me about your decision. You didn't just save my life. You've given me a purpose. I want to be the first person trained at your new institute so I can help train others. Just as everything seemed perfect, Arjun's phone rang with a call that would test everything he had learned about friendship, loyalty, and the true cost of changing the world. The phone call came from Dr. Emily Watson at Neuralink. Her voice was tight with worry and urgency. Arjun, we have a serious problem. I need you to sit down. Arjun's heart sank. He was still in the Prime Minister's office, celebrating his new diplomatic status and the global healthcare initiative. But Dr. Watson's tone told him something was terribly wrong. What happened? He asked, stepping away from the congratulatory conversations. 3 patients in our clinical trials have developed severe complications. All of them were using devices based on your original design but manufactured for mass production. The world seemed to stop spinning around Arjun. What kind of complications? 2 patients experienced seizures during treatment. 1 woman went into a coma. All 3 had metal implants, pacemakers, artificial joints, or dental work. It appears the electrical therapy is interfering with their medical devices. Arjun felt like he couldn't breathe. The technology that had helped hundreds of people was now hurting others. Dr. Watson, are they going to be okay? We don't know yet. The woman in the coma is stable but unresponsive. The seizure patients recovered, but they're suffering from severe headaches and memory problems. Prime Minister Modi noticed Arjun's distressed expression and approached him with concern. What's wrong, Beta? Arjun explained the situation briefly. The Prime Minister's face grew serious as he understood the implications. This changes everything, PM Modi said quietly. If your technology is harming patients, we cannot move forward with the global program. Within hours, the news leaked to international media. Headlines around the world screamed alarming messages. Miracle device turns dangerous. Boy genius's invention causes seizures. An Indian healthcare initiative halted after patient injuries. Arjun watched the news coverage from his hotel room in Delhi, feeling sick to his stomach. His parents sat beside him, equally devastated. Beta, his mother said softly, this is not your fault. You've helped so many people. But Arjun felt responsible for every patient who had been hurt. His simple device designed to heal was now causing harm when manufactured by others. Elon Musk called from California within minutes of the news breaking. Arjun, I know this looks bad, but we'll figure it out. The FDA is demanding that we suspend all trials immediately until we understand what went wrong. Mr. Musk, What about all the patients who are getting better with the treatments? Mrs. Sharma, in Mumbai. The children Marcus is helping in Nigeria. I'm sorry, Arjun, but we have to stop everything until we ensure patient safety. No exceptions. Dr. Gupta from the Indian Health Ministry called next. Her tone was formal and distant, completely different from their friendly meeting days before. Arjun, there is tremendous pressure from Parliament to cancel our agreement. Opposition politicians are saying we trusted a child with matters too important for his age. Ma'am, please give me time to figure out what went wrong. I know we can fix this. I'm sorry, but the Prime Minister has decided to postpone the healthcare initiative indefinitely. We cannot risk Indian patients being harmed. One by one, Arjun's carefully built world began to crumble. The research institute was put on hold. The global training program was cancelled. Universities that had wanted to partner with him withdrew their offers. Worst of all, his online students began to doubt him. In their video conference that evening, Marcus from Nigeria looked upset and confused. Arjun, my local doctors are telling families not to use your device anymore. They say it's too dangerous. Elena from Peru was crying. 3 children in my village were getting better with the electrical therapy. Now their parents are scared to continue treatment. Ahmed from Bangladesh spoke the hardest words of all. Brother, maybe the adults are right. Maybe we're too young to be playing with people's lives. Arjun stared at his computer screen, watching his friends lose faith in him and their shared mission. He had never felt so alone. That night, he called his grandmother in Mumbai. Her weathered face appeared on the video call, filled with love and concern. Nani, everyone is saying my device is dangerous. Maybe I made a terrible mistake. His grandmother studied his face through the computer screen. Beta, tell me exactly what happened. Arjun explained about the 3 patients who had been hurt, the seizures, the coma, and the media coverage that was destroying his reputation. Beta, she said gently, do you remember when you first helped me after my stroke? Yes, Nani. I was scared too. But you didn't give up. You studied the problem. You tested everything carefully. And you were patient. The device that helped me, was it exactly the same as the ones causing problems now? Arjun thought carefully. No, Nani. My original device was much simpler. It used lower electrical power and had different safety controls. Then maybe the problem isn't your idea. Maybe it's what other people did with your idea. Her words sparked something in Arjun's mind. He stayed up all night, comparing his original designs with the mass-produced versions that had caused the complications. At 3 a.m., he discovered the problem. The manufacturing companies had made the devices more powerful to produce faster results. They had also simplified the circuits to reduce production costs. But in doing so, they had removed several safety features that Arjun had built into his original design. Most critically, they had ignored his warnings about patients with metal implants. His original device included sensors that would automatically shut off if they detected interference with other medical devices. The mass-produced versions had no such protections. Arjun immediately called Dr. Watson, even though it was late at night in California. Dr. Watson, I found the problem. The manufactured devices are too powerful and missing crucial safety features. He explained his discovery in detail, showing her the differences between his original design and the commercial versions. Arjun, this is exactly what we needed to know, Dr. Watson said with relief. Can you design an improved version that would be safe for all patients? I already have, Arjun replied, showing her diagrams he had drawn during the night. We need adjustable power settings, automatic shutoff sensors, and patient screening protocols. Working 18 hours a day for the next week. Arjun and the Neuralink team redesigned the device with Comprintip safety controls. They tested it extensively on computer models, then on laboratory animals, then on volunteer patients without metal implants. The new version worked perfectly. It was as effective as the original device but much safer for all types of patients. Dr. Watson was amazed by Arjun's dedication. Most adult researchers would have given up after such bad publicity. You found a solution in 1 week that our entire team couldn't find in 3 weeks. But the damage to Arjun's reputation seemed irreversible. News outlets that had praised him as a miracle worker now ignored his solution. Politicians who had supported his work grew silent. Medical journals that had requested his research papers suddenly stopped returning his calls. Arjun felt defeated until he received unexpected video calls from the 3 patients who had experienced complications from his device. Mrs. Sarah Patterson, a 67-year-old woman from Texas, appeared on his computer screen first. "Young man, I heard on the news that you've been blaming yourself for what happened to us. Ma'am, I'm so sorry my device caused your seizure. I feel terrible about it." Mrs. Patterson laughed gently. "Hurt me? Son, before your treatment I couldn't move my left arm for 8 months after my stroke. The seizure was scary, but it lasted 2 minutes. My paralysis lasted 8 months." She held up her arm and wiggled her fingers. "Your improved device gave me my life back. I can hug my grandchildren again." The second patient, Mr. James Rodriguez, a veteran with a brain injury, agreed completely. "Arjun, most doctors treat us like medical cases to be managed. You treat us like people to be healed." The third patient, Mrs. Linda Chen, spoke from her hospital bed. "I was in a coma for 3 days. Yes, but I've been unable to speak clearly for 2 years since my accident. Now listen to me talk." Her words were crystal clear, with no trace of the speech problems she had suffered since her brain injury. "You didn't just fix the device, son. You made it better than before." All 3 patients wanted to be the first to test Arjun's improved technology. They had complete faith in his ability to learn from mistakes and create something better. "But why would you trust me again after what happened?" Arjun asked. Mr. Rodriguez answered for all of them. "Because we know you care about getting it right, not about being right. There's a big difference." Their support gave Arjun the courage to make a public announcement about his improved device. He held a video conference with reporters from around the world, explaining exactly what had gone wrong and how he had fixed it. "I made mistakes," he said honestly. "But mistakes are teachers if we listen to them carefully. The new device is safer and more effective than anything we've created before." He demonstrated the improved safety features and showed testimonials from the recovered patients. Slowly, the medical community began to regain confidence in his work. Dr. Blackwell, the British neurologist who had initially doubted Arjun, publicly endorsed the improved device. "This young man has shown remarkable maturity in addressing the complications," Dr. Blackwell announced at a medical conference. "His willingness to learn from setbacks and improve his technology demonstrates the kind of scientific integrity we need more of." The World Health Organization, which had withdrawn their support during the crisis, sent a team to evaluate the improved device. After extensive testing, they not only restored their partnership but expanded it. "Mr. Patel has demonstrated that setbacks can lead to breakthroughs," said Dr. Margaret Okonkwo, WHO Director of Emergency Health Programs. "His improved technology is now safer and more effective than any similar treatment available." But the most meaningful support came from Arjun's online students. One by one, they returned to the visual classroom with renewed faith in their mission. Marcus from Nigeria was the first to speak. "Arjun, you taught us that smart people aren't those who never fail. Smart people are those who learn from failure faster than anyone else." Alina, from Peru, added, "You could have given up when everyone doubted you. Instead, you made something better. That's what real leaders do." Ahmad from Bangladesh said, "Brother, watching you handle this crisis taught me more about courage than any textbook ever could." Even Kavya, whose mother's life Arjun had saved, offered her perspective. "Arjun Vai, my mother says that doctors who never make mistakes are doctors who never try to help difficult cases. The fact that you're willing to take risks to help people shows you care more about patients than about protecting yourself." Dr. Gupta from the Indian Health Ministry called with surprising news. "Arjun, the Prime Minister has reviewed your improved technology and the patient testimonials. He wants to restart the healthcare initiative immediately." "Ma'am, are you sure? The politicians who criticized me are now competing to take credit for supporting you," Dr. Gupta said with a laugh. "Success has many parents, Beta. Failure is an orphan." Elon Musk flew to Delhi personally to restart their collaboration. "Arjun, what you've accomplished in the past month is remarkable. You turned a potential disaster into a triumph of medical innovation." "Mr. Musk, I learned something important. Being smart isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions when things go wrong." "What questions did you ask? Why did some patients get hurt when others got better? What was different about their cases? How could I make the device safer for everyone?" Elon nodded approvingly. "Those are exactly the questions a real scientist asks." As Arjun prepared to return to California to officially restart the clinical trials, he reflected on everything he had learned. The past month had been the most difficult of his life. But it had also taught him the most important lessons about leadership, responsibility, and the true meaning of healing. He had discovered that changing the world wasn't just about having brilliant ideas. It was about having the courage to face your mistakes, learn from them, and keep trying to help people even when others doubted you. Most importantly, he had learned that the best innovations come not from trying to be perfect, but from caring enough to keep improving until you get it right. 6 months later, Arjun stood before the most prestigious medical audience in the world. The Nobel Prize Committee had invited him to deliver the keynote address at their annual symposium on young innovators transforming medicine in Stockholm, Sweden. The Stockholm Concert Hall, where Nobel Prizes are awarded each December, gleamed with golden light. 1,200 of the world's most brilliant scientists, doctors, and researchers filled every seat. The audience included 15 Nobel Prize winners, heads of medical schools from 6 continents, and health ministers from 40 countries. At 13 years old, Arjun was the youngest person ever to address this gathering. He looked small behind the massive podium, but his voice was clear and confident as he began. Distinguished guests, I am probably the youngest person ever to speak in this historic hall. Some of you might wonder what a boy from an Indian slum can teach the world's most accomplished medical professionals. He paused, looking out at the sea of serious faces watching him intently. 8 months ago, I thought I had all the answers. My device was helping people and I felt like a hero. Then patients got hurt because of my technology and I felt like a failure. But I learned something crucial. Being smart isn't about never making mistakes. It's about learning from them fast enough to help people. Behind him, a huge screen showed his journey from the simple device made from Mumbai garbage to the sophisticated medical instrument now being used in hospitals worldwide. My first device helped my grandmother walk again after her stroke. The second version, manufactured by others, hurt 3 patients. The third version helps everyone safely. Each mistake taught me something essential about healing. He clicked to show brain scans and recovery data from hundreds of patients around the world. Today, our improved technology is being used in 53 countries. We've helped over 10,000 patients with brain injuries, strokes, depression, and other neurological conditions. But more importantly, we've trained 1,500 community health workers who are helping people in places where advanced medical care was never available before. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, a Nobel Prize winner in medicine, raised her hand. Arjun, your accomplishments are impressive for someone so young. But don't you think medical research should be left to trained professionals with proper qualifications? The question Arjun had been expecting. The entire audience leaned forward to hear his response. Dr. Blackburn, you're absolutely right that medical research needs trained professionals. But sometimes it also needs fresh perspectives. I see problems differently because I lived them. When my grandmother had a stroke, I wasn't thinking like a scientist. I was thinking like a grandson who wanted to help. He showed a video message from Mrs. Sharma, now fully recovered and working as a community health educator. Adults ask, is this safe? Children ask, will this help? Both questions are important. The best solutions come when we ask both. Dr. Blackburn nodded thoughtfully. But how do we balance innovation with safety, especially when young people are involved? Ma'am, that's exactly what I learned during our crisis 6 months ago. When patients were hurt by my device, I realized that good intentions aren't enough. We need rigorous testing, careful protocols, and constant improvement. He showed detailed safety data from the improved devices. Now we test everything 20 times before any patient uses it. We have automatic safety shutoffs, patient screening protocols, and continuous monitoring. The device that hurt 3 patients taught us to build something much better. Dr. James Chen from Harvard Medical School asked the next question. Arjun, your work focuses on making advanced medical care accessible to poor communities. But doesn't this create a 2-tier system where poor people get simpler treatments? Arjun's eyes lit up with passion. Sir, we already have a 2-tier system. Rich people get the best treatments money can buy. Poor people get nothing. Our approach gives everyone access to effective care, even if it's not the most expensive care. He showed statistics comparing treatment outcomes. A simple electrical therapy device that cost $50 can help a stroke patient recover just as well as a $100,000 robot. Sometimes the best medicine is the one that actually reaches the patient. Professor Maria Santos, from the University of São Paulo, raised a concern about training non-professionals. How can you ensure quality when community health workers lack formal medical education? Professor Santos, that's an excellent question. We've developed a comprehensive training program that combines online learning with hands-on mentorship. He showed videos of training sessions from around the world. Our community health workers study for 6 months before treating any patients. They work under supervision of qualified doctors through telemedicine connections, and they focus only on specific conditions they're trained to handle. He clicked to a slide showing impressive results. Our community health workers have a 94% success rate in treating basic neurological conditions. That's better than many expensive urban hospitals. Dr. Rashid Patel from Johns Hopkins asked about scaling the program globally. Arjun, how do you maintain quality control when working in dozens of countries with different medical systems? Dr. Patel, we use a hub-and-spoke model. Each region has a central training facility staffed by qualified medical professionals. Local health workers connect to these hubs through video calls for guidance and supervision. He showed a world map displaying the global network. Every treatment is documented and reviewed. Every health worker receives continuous education, and every patient outcome is tracked to ensure we're maintaining safety and effectiveness. The questions continued for over an hour. Arjun answered each one confidently, drawing on months of real-world experience implementing his program across continents. Finally, Dr. Lars Anderson, chairman of the Nobel Committee, stood to address the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed something remarkable. This young man has not only developed breakthrough medical technology, but has also created a new model for global healthcare delivery. The audience began to applaud. More importantly, Dr. Anderson continued, he has demonstrated the kind of scientific integrity we desperately need. When his technology caused problems, he didn't make excuses or blame others. He studied the failures, learned from them, and created something better. The applause grew louder. The Nobel Committee does not typically recognize individuals under the age of 18. However, we are announcing today the creation of a new award, the Nobel Youth Innovation Prize. Arjun Patel will be our first recipient. The audience erupted in a standing ovation. Arjun stood frozen behind the podium, overwhelmed by the honor. As the applause died down, Dr. Anderson presented Arjun with a crystal trophy and a check for $1 million. This prize money comes with one condition, Dr. Anderson said with a smile. It must be used to expand your global healthcare program. After the ceremony, Arjun was surrounded by reporters and medical professionals wanting to learn more about his work. But the conversation that mattered most to him was with his family. Watching via video call from Mumbai, "Beta, we are so proud of you," his mother said, tears streaming down her face. "Arjun, you have brought honor not just to our family but to all of India," his father added. His grandmother appeared on the screen, her weathered face glowing with joy. "Beta, remember when you first helped me walk? I knew then that you were special. But even I never imagined this." That evening, Arjun held a video conference with his global network of students and community health workers. Faces appeared from 53 countries, representing every continent. Marcus from Nigeria spoke first. "Arjun, you've shown the world that solutions can come from anywhere. Our refugee camp health center has helped over 1,000 people this year." Elena from Peru added, "In my village, we've reduced infant mortality by 60% using your training methods combined with traditional medicines." Ahmed from Bangladesh shared his latest achievement. "Brother, 3 children with cerebral palsy in our KARM are now walking with the help of your electrical therapy." Kivya from Delhi, now 17 and studying medicine, had the most meaningful update. "Arjun Bhai, my mother has trained 40 other women to use your device. They're helping stroke patients all across Mumbai's slums." But the most surprising guest on the video call was Mrs. Sarah Patterson, the American woman who had suffered a seizure during the early trials. "Arjun, I wanted to personally thank you," she said. "Not just for healing my arm, but for showing my grandson that making mistakes doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're trying to do something important." As the video call ended, Arjun reflected on the incredible journey that had brought him to this moment, from a curious boy fixing computers in Mumbai's slums to the first recipient of the Nobel Youth Innovation Prize. Every step had taught him something essential about healing, leadership, and the power of persistence. The next morning brought exciting news from Dr. Watson at Neuralink. Arjun, we've received approval to begin the largest clinical trial in medical history. 50 hospitals across 20 countries want to test your technology. That's amazing, Dr. Watson. How many patients will be involved? 10,000 patients over 2 years. If the results match what we've seen so far, your technology could become the standard treatment for neurological conditions worldwide. Elon Musk joined the conversation via video call from California. Arjun, what you've accomplished exceeds anything I imagined when we first met. You've created a global healthcare revolution. Mr. Musk, this is just the beginning. Imagine if we could train 1 million community health workers around the world. Imagine if every village had access to effective neurological care. What would you need to make that happen? Arjun had been thinking about this question for months. We need to establish regional training centers on every continent. We need to develop simplified devices that can be manufactured locally. And we need to create partnerships with medical schools to provide ongoing education. Over the next week in Stockholm, Arjun met with government officials, university presidents, and medical leaders who wanted to partner with his expanding program. The World Health Organization offered to make his training curriculum part of their global health education standards. The United Nations proposed creating a new division focused on accessible medical technology. Most exciting of all, 15 medical schools across 6 continents requested permission to establish Arjun Patel Centers for Accessible Healthcare that would train the next generation of community health workers. But amid all the institutional recognition and global expansion plans, Arjun never forgot the personal stories that had motivated his journey. On his last day in Stockholm, he received a video call that reminded him why his work mattered. It was from a young girl named Amara in Somalia. She was 8 years old and had been unable to speak since a brain injury caused by malnutrition. "Mr. Arjun," she said clearly through the video connection, "the nice doctor here showed me how your machine works. Now I can talk to my mama again." Behind her, Arjun could see her mother crying with joy and a community health worker who had been trained through his program. In that moment, all the awards, recognition, and institutional partnerships paled in comparison to hearing one little rural speak for the first time in years. As his plane lifted off from Stockholm, heading back to India, Arjun looked out the window at the world below. Somewhere down there, in hospitals and clinics and refugee camps and remote villages, his devices were helping people heal. 1,500 community health workers trained through his program were treating patients who had never had access to neurological care. 10,000 people had recovered from conditions that were once considered hopeless. But more than the numbers, Arjun thought about the stories. Mrs. Sharma cooking dinner with both hands. Marcus helping children in Nigeria walk again. Elena combining traditional medicine with modern technology in Peru. Ahmed bringing hope to refugee families in Bangladesh. And little Amara in Somalia, speaking to her mother for the first time in years. This was what changing the world really meant. Not just having brilliant ideas or winning prestigious awards, but helping one person at a time until millions of people had better lives. As the plane crossed over the European countryside, Arjun opened his laptop and began planning the next phase of his mission. There were still billions of people who needed access to better healthcare. There were still countless communities where his technology could make a difference. The boy from Mumbai's slums had become a global leader in medical innovation. But his journey was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. 2 years later, Arjun stood in the most advanced medical research facility in the world. But this wasn't Neuralink in California or a prestigious hospital in America. This was the Arjun Patel Institute for Global Healthcare, built in the heart of Mumbai, just 5 kilometers from the slum where he was born. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his laboratory, he could see the bustling streets of his childhood. Vendors sold colorful fruits from wooden carts. Children played cricket with sticks and tennis balls. Auto rickshaws honked their way through impossible traffic. But now, scattered among the familiar chaos, were small blue signs marking community health centers. Each one was staffed by workers trained in Arjun's methods. Each one brought advanced neurological care to people who had never had access to such treatment before. "Sir, your 3 o'clock appointment is here," said Dr. Kavya Sharma, now 20, and Arjun's chief assistant. The little girl whose mother's life he had saved via video call was now a medical student at the prestigious All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Arjun smiled at being called sir by someone who was 7 years older than him. At 15, he was still getting used to the respect that came with his position as director of the world's largest accessible healthcare program. His visitor was Dr. Angela Morrison, the new Director General of the World Health Organization. She had flown from Geneva specifically to see his work. "Arjun," Dr. Morrison said as she entered his office, "I've come to offer you something unprecedented." She placed a thick document on his desk. The cover read, "Global Initiative for Universal Neurological Care, WHO Partnership Proposal. The World Health Organization wants to make your training program the international standard for community healthcare. We're prepared to fund expansion to every country on Earth." Arjun read through the proposal carefully. It was everything he had dreamed of. Resources to train 1 million community health workers, devices manufactured in every region, and partnerships with every major medical institution worldwide. "Dr. Morrison, this is incredible. But I have one question." "What's that?" "Who would control the program? WHO headquarters in Geneva or the communities that need the care?" Dr. Morrison looked surprised by the question. "Well, WHO would provide oversight and standards. Naturally, we have the expertise to manage a program of this scope." Arjun set down the proposal gently. "Dr. Morrison, I appreciate this offer tremendously. But I've learned something important over the past 2 years. The best healthcare solutions come from the communities that need them, not from distant headquarters." He walked to his window, looking out at the Mumbai streets. "See those blue signs? Each health center is run by someone from that neighborhood. They understand the local language, culture, and specific medical challenges. They're not just providing treatment, they're training the next generation of local healers." Dr. Morrison followed his gaze. "But Arjun, you need central coordination to maintain quality and safety standards." "We have that," Arjun replied, showing her data on his computer. "But it's coordination, not control. Each regional center operates independently, while sharing knowledge with others." He pulled up video calls from health centers around the world. In Nigeria, Marcus was training teenagers to help children with cerebral palsy. In Peru, Elena was combining electrical therapy with traditional herbal medicines. In Bangladesh, Ahmed was teaching refugee women to treat stroke patients. "These aren't just healthcare workers following protocols," Arjun explained. "They're innovators creating new solutions for their specific communities." Dr. Morrison watched the video calls with growing amazement. "This is remarkable, but surely you need more centralized oversight." "Dr. Morrison," Arjun interrupted gently. "With respect, that's exactly the thinking that keeps advanced healthcare away from poor people. When experts in Geneva decide what's best for villages in Africa, the solutions often don't work." He showed her success statistics from the past year. "Our community-controlled centers have a 96% patient satisfaction rate and 91% treatment success rate. They're outperforming many expensive urban hospitals." Dr. Morrison studied the data carefully. "These results are extraordinary, but how do you ensure safety without central control?" "Through education, not regulation," Arjun answered. "Every health worker trains for 8 months and connects with qualified doctors through telemedicine. They learn not just what to do, but why they're doing it." He clicked to show training videos from around the world. "When people understand the science behind their work, they make better decisions than when they just follow rules written by strangers." As Dr. Morrison prepared to leave, she asked one final question. "Arjun, you could have accepted our offer and become one of the most powerful people in global healthcare. Why did you choose the harder path?" Arjun thought about this carefully. "Dr. Morrison, power isn't about controlling others. Real power is helping others control their own lives." That evening, Arjun video called with his original students, the ones who had stayed with him through every challenge and crisis. "Did you hear about the WHO offer?" Kavya asked from her medical school dormitory. "I heard you turned it down," Marcus said from his community center in Lagos. "Some people think you're crazy to refuse that much money and influence." Elena joined from her mountain village in Peru.
"I don't think he's crazy. Remember what Arjun taught us in our first class?
"The best solutions come from understanding problems, not from having money to throw at them." Ahmed appeared on screen from Bangladesh, where he was now training health workers across 3 refugee camps. "Brother, you made the right choice. When organizations get too big and powerful, they forget about helping real people. But the most meaningful voice came from an unexpected source. Mrs. Sarah Patterson, the American woman who had suffered complications during the early trials, had become one of Arjun's strongest supporters. "Arjun, honey, I've been watching your work for 2 years now. You could have taken that WH job and had a big office and lots of important meetings. Instead, you chose to keep helping people one at a time. That's the difference between being successful and being significant." As the video call ended, Arjun reflected on how much had changed since that day in Austin, when he first questioned Elon Musk. His simple question about two-way brain communication had led to breakthrough medical technology. But more importantly, it had led to a new way of thinking about healthcare itself. Instead of expensive treatments available only to the wealthy, he had created simple solutions that worked for everyone. Instead of centralized medical systems controlled by distant experts, he had built networks of local healers who understood their community's specific needs. The next morning brought news that would reveal the secret that had driven Arjun's success from the very beginning. Dr. Raj Sharma called from King Edward Memorial Hospital with extraordinary information. "Arjun, I've been analyzing the data from all our community health centers. I've discovered something remarkable that explains why your approach works so much better than traditional medicine." "What did you find, Dr. Sharma?" "It's not just the electrical therapy that heals people. It's the combination of advanced technology with human connection. Our health workers spend an average of 45 minutes with each patient. Most urban doctors spend less than 10 minutes. Arjun had suspected this for months, but hearing it confirmed was still meaningful. "Dr. Sharma, that's exactly what I learned from my grandmother. She taught me that healing requires both science and caring. But there's more," Dr. Sharma continued. "The electrical therapy works better when patients trust their healer and feel listened to. The brain actually responds more effectively to treatment when the patient feels safe and cared for." This discovery explained everything. Arjun's technology wasn't just fixing damaged brain cells. It was working in harmony with the human body's natural healing systems, which functioned better when patients felt supported and understood. "Dr. Sharma, this means we need to train our health workers not just in medical techniques, but in compassion and communication." "Exactly, and that's why your community-based approach works so well. Local healers naturally have stronger connections with their patients than foreign experts." That afternoon, Arjun received a video call that would bring his journey full circle. It was from Elon Musk, calling from his office at Neuralink. "Arjun, I've been following your work since Stockholm. What you've accomplished is beyond anything I imagined when we first met." "Mr. Musk, that day in Austin changed my life. Your willingness to listen to a 12-year-old boy from India opened doors I never knew existed." "Actually, Arjun, I called to tell you something. That day changed my life too." Arjun looked surprised. "How so, sir?" "Before our meeting, I thought the future of medicine was about building more sophisticated technology, smarter chips, more powerful computers, more expensive equipment." Elon paused, choosing his words carefully. "But watching you work, I learned that the future of medicine isn't about making technology more complex. It's about making effective treatments more accessible." "Mr. Musk, you gave me the resources to develop my ideas. Without Neuralink's support, I never could have proven my technology worked. And you taught me that the best innovations solve problems for everyone, not just people wealthy enough to afford them. That's why I'm announcing today that Tesla will begin manufacturing your electrical therapy devices at cost price for developing countries." Arjun felt tears welling up in his eyes. "Mr. Musk, that's incredible. How many devices could you produce?" "1 million units per year. Enough to equip every community health center on Earth." As they talked about the partnership details, Arjun realized that his story had come full circle. The confrontation that had shocked everyone was leading to collaboration that would help everyone. That evening, Arjun climbed to the roof of his institute building. Mumbai spread out below him, a city of 20 million people, from billionaires and skyscrapers to families in slums just like the one where he had grown up. But now he could see the network of blue signs marking community health centers throughout the city. Each one represented hope for families who had never had access to advanced medical care. His phone buzzed with a message from his grandmother. Despite being 78 and fully recovered from her stroke, she still worked every day training new community health workers. "Beta," her message read, "I saw the news about Tesla making your devices. You remember what I told you about being like the river? You found a way to flow around every mountain." As Arjun looked out over his city, He thought about all the lives that had been changed by a simple question asked by a curious boy to a powerful man. Mrs. Sharma was now healthy and training others. Marcus was helping children walk in Nigeria. Elena was combining modern science with ancient wisdom in Peru. Ahmed was bringing hope to refugee camps. Little Amara in Somalia could speak to her mother. And around the world in 53 countries, community health centers were providing advanced neurological care to people who had been forgotten by traditional medicine. But the most important change wasn't in the technology or the institutions or even the thousands of lives that had been saved. The most important change was in the idea that advanced healthcare could belong to everyone, not just the wealthy few. That innovation could come from anywhere, not just expensive laboratories, that the best solutions often came from people who understood problems personally, not just academically. Arjun's journey from a curious boy in Mumbai's slums to a global healthcare leader had proven that with enough determination, compassion, and willingness to learn from mistakes, anyone could change the world. As he prepared to go back inside, Arjun's phone rang one more time. It was a video call from a 9-year-old girl in rural Kenya.
Mr. Arjun, she said with a bright smile, my name is Grace.
The health worker here helped my grandfather walk again after his stroke. I want to be a healer like you when I grow up. Can you teach me? Arjun smiled, remembering himself at that age, full of questions and determination to help people. Grace, he said, I would be honored to teach you. But remember, the most important thing I can teach you is this. The best healers are those who never stop caring about people who need help. As the call ended, Arjun realized that his greatest achievement wasn't the technology he had invented or the awards he had won. It was inspiring a new generation of young people to believe they could solve the world's problems with intelligence, compassion, and persistence. The boy from Mumbai's slums had indeed changed the world. But more importantly, he had shown others that they could change it too. And that was the end of this incredible story. The journey of a 12-year-old bull from Mumbai's slums who dared to challenge Elon Musk and ended up transforming global healthcare forever. From a simple question about brain technology to training thousands of community healers worldwide, Arjun proved that with courage, compassion, and determination, anyone can change the world. We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and tell us your city or country. It's amazing to connect with listeners from around the globe. If this story inspired you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories of innovation, courage, and human triumph. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. Most importantly, share this video with your friends and family. Stories like Arjun's remind us that breakthrough solutions can come from anywhere, and that every person, no matter their age or background, has the potential to make a difference. Let's spread this message of hope, kindness, and the power of asking the right questions. Thank you for listening, and remember, the next world-changing idea might just come from someone unexpected, maybe even from you.